Welcome to another episode of Lost Like Mike. I am your host, Mike Gonzalez. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out, dropping by, occasionally coming by. Appreciate the messages at lostlikemike@gmail.com. I should start putting that up, lostlikemike@gmail.com. I'll probably write that on this one. Yeah, I do enjoy the show topic suggestions and the questions and things like that, the comments. So today, earlier, I was, we were getting ready to go to church, and my daughter's getting her stuff. You know, she wants to bring a backpack and, little mini backpack. And she takes this little stuffed animal that she's called Spooky. The name of the animal is Spooky. It's this little dog, a little white dog. She's had this little animal since she was a wee baby. It has that really great lived-in look where it's just been sort of hand washed, and the fur is kind of like weird looking, but she's had it forever. She takes it around, sleeps with it every night. Don't forget Spooky. I never understood why she called it Spooky. She called it Spooky before I think she even knew what the word spooky meant. But the name is stuck, and it's just real tattered and real aged. And anyway, the point being, she gathered her odds and ends that she brings with her to church. No rhyme or reason to the things that she puts in this backpack, but she had Spooky with her. And in my mind, I said, she's going to lose Spooky today. Like, what would happen if she lost Spooky, right? Random thought. Never, and I didn't pay any mind to it. And that's the point of me saying this, but we went to church, and it was quite lovely. Like, the moment was, she said she didn't want to go to Sunday school today. She wanted to hang out with us in the service. And I thought that might be nice, to have her listen to the. Obviously, I felt that maybe there's a message for her or whatever, but it didn't end up getting that deep for her. What ended up happening was she was drawing pictures and writing, and when the pastor would make a joke, she'd laugh and enjoyed that aspect of it. Maybe she heard something subconsciously that mattered to her, but when the church service was over, Harlow went with me for a walk, and her mom stayed behind with her dad to go do some kind of exchange with the vehicles. They had something that doesn't matter. She was going to get something out of one car and give it to him because they weren't going to go over and visit. Y'all don't care about that part. Anyway, while we were walking to the service, they have this garden fountain area with benches and these different flowers and plants and whatever. And we go and sit down, she and I, Harlow and I, and she sets up Spooky next to her, and we're looking at the fountain and taking a minute, It was very peaceful. The sun kind of felt nice on us, and we're sitting on one of these park benches, and I leaned over and I said, every now and then, stop and do something out of the ordinary, and take a minute and make a memory. But you have to take note of it, give yourself a minute to say, you know what? I'm going to sit down on this park bench with my dad, and we're going to hang out for a minute, and we're just going to enjoy it, and we're going to take it in. I said, you need to every now and then do that, because every day we go in, we're doing the same things over and over, and we don't change anything. And then, so we got up to leave, and she said, I want to, it's these big boulders are in this fountain. and the water kind of like dribbles out of it, and it just kind of runs off of like a water volcano. And she said, "Man, I really wish I could touch the fountain." And I said, "It ain't gonna hurt nothing. I said, watch." And they had this green moss all over it. We both kind of touched it. It was very smushy, and I said, "Well, let's go." So we got all the way back to the car, and neither of us paid any mind to it. But I hear them talking about Spooky, and she starts crying. I don't know where the Spooky's at. And the thing of it is that earlier in the service, when we were all getting up to leave, a man behind us said, "Are these yours?" and hands me a pink Bible with a piece of paper, and it was Harlow's stuff. So when we were all talking about Spooky and where Spooky go, my first thought was, well, obviously she left it under the seat in the church, and which is a much farther walk all the way down to Forever in a day. And she's, crying and getting upset like she's lost Spooky forever. And so I say, well, I got this. I start heading back towards the church, not knowing that she had left the Spooky at this fountain. But when I'm walking by these big glass windows as I'm going to the auditorium where they have the service, and I said, what if it's by the fountain? So I'm walking by these big giant windows, and I see the fountain through the benches, and sure enough, I see Spooky out there kicking it by the fountain. And Dad's a hero. Everything's great. It's funny I say that, but when I got back to the car, they had already left. They had followed me after I went in to look, so what kind of faith did they have in me to find it if they went after me to go look for it as well, right? Anyway, that's just me being, self-deprecating. But anyway, the point of me telling that story is that there was a voice in my head earlier in the morning that said, you're going to lose that stuffed animal. And as random as it is, and it could have been, what do we chalk it up as? Just, the coincidence of it? If it was some sort of, I'm not going to say not prophecy or clairvoyancy or like some sort of tapping into like the possibility of it happening, but are our minds so cluttered with other thoughts and other things going on that we don't hear that intuition, or that we don't hear maybe warnings and that maybe come into our minds every day, right? And I guess that's where my mind is at right now. Is sometimes I'll hear a voice that'll say, you know what, I don't think that you should do that today. I think that you should skip it and go this opposite direction. And we had talked about a similar thing happening when I listened to I was just intuitively listening to my gut, and I ended up in the right place at the right time and got an electric guitar for really that I would want, and that was really inexpensive and I don't know, but what voices cloud the, it's like kind of saying, if you wear two watches, you'll never know what time it really is. There's an expression that says something similar. I'm paraphrasing. But once you acknowledge that there's a power to listening to your internal monologue or the suggestions of your subconscious or your gut, the next thing you know, there's, multiple channels going on, and it's a cloud of indecision again, right? So how do you still the waters and distinguish between what is a true and helpful voice and a naysayer? It's like if you had Jiminy Cricket on one side, and then the little angel, little devil, right? which is the voice that is the helpful intuition, the gut. Oh, food for thought. I was just thinking, because having I heard the voice and that said, "You're going to lose that today. Look out for it," to whatever. I might have had the forethought to say, "Hey, pat your pockets, make sure you have your all your stuff that you brought with you." And sometimes I've been known to do that, but maybe that would have given me that same. But anyway, how many times do we hear those things and not listen to them? When I was talking about that guitar situation, there was something to that interaction that has stayed with me. Since then, I've done a couple other transactions, and I'm not a merchant per se. I don't. But lately, because as we've talked about in other episodes, I've been selling some items that were left behind. And I'm finished with that. I think I had some different items that I was selling for my brother that passed away. We're helping get things to some good homes that appreciate them and want them instead of where they were at. And I donated a lot of stuff this week. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But with the guitar, I knew at the moment where I had my wallet out and I said, "Let me see how much I have." And he was wanting, some different amounts of money. I knew that the man would have taken $50 for the guitar. But I didn't want to get him at his lowest price. That sounds so stupid. I mean, so counterintuitive to say that. But I even said out loud, "Here's really what I have in my wallet," right? Which is not what you wanted initially, right? It's not the full amount of ideally what you would want to take for this. But it's everything I have in my wallet. Would that be enough to get this from you? Because I already knew from his eyes that he would take what I offered him. And this may not make any sense to you, or it might make total sense to you as a listener. But I even said out loud, "I want you to walk away happy, and I'm going to walk away happy." With this deal. That's after I gave him the money and he gave me the instrument. I said, "I feel good about this. I hope you do too." And he was like, "Absolutely. Save me time, trouble, all this, whatever." I said, "Perfect." And when I sold the different items that I sold, in one instance I sold it, well, in both really, I sold them to people because I just sold everything at once. There were people that I would talk to on the platform, the selling platform, that were not nice people, that were trying to wheel and deal, trying to be, less than fair. And I didn't. Whenever I got that bad feeling, I kind of paused. I wouldn't want to get involved with it. But like this, in one instance where I was selling some of these items, which I'll say some of the items were comic books, okay, and I went into a Heroes and Fantasies, which I'm name dropping because of the positive experience that it was. They had a gentleman there that went through the books, and look, I had already, I made my own assumption of what the person was going to be like kind of picture the Simpsons portrayal of a comic book salesperson, right? Who makes you feel stupid about the things you have and the quality of it, and there's this bent corner right here, so I'm knocking it down to whatever. But he was very transparent, very authentic in his explanation, very patient. As he was looking through the different books, he was he would. I said, if you don't mind me asking, what types of things you're looking for? I had all these questions. You know, what are the deal breakers? What is your parameters? And kind of what can I expect from how much money or what you're going to offer me, right? Every question that I asked him, he was willing to talk about. He was willing to be very honest, and how he explained that he was, you know, the value that he was looking for, and that some books he would be interested in, some that he would not, and it had just as much to do with the quality of the book as it had to do with his inventory of that book. Because, for example, he would point at these certain books, and he'd say, "There's nothing wrong with these books. They're good books. They're valuable. I just have to move the ones I have already, so I don't have the space to house this book, this particular title. So normally I'd offer you money on this book, but I'm not going to." It's kind of like a full disclosure, sort of, and it made me feel better about doing it. And at the end of it, he offered me money on the particular ones he wanted, and I asked him if he would bump it up to an even amount, and I said that would make me feel good about the transaction. And he looked at some of the numbers and he said, "You got it." And he made it even for me. So he walked away happy. I walked away happy. We both felt like neither one of us was one-upping the other guy, but we could part as friends, shake hands, and say, "You know what? If I come across anything cool, man, I'm gonna bring it here, and I'm gonna bring it to you, because I think that you'll give me a fair value for it." You know what I mean? And it's so rare. Like, it doesn't feel good. Okay, I think I might have talked to y'all about the one transaction that was too good to be true. I got kind of high off of the first one, and I go onto this platform, and I'm looking, and I find this one. They wanted for these two items, a bass guitar and a guitar, and it was going to be a great deal. It's kind of like one of the ones that you see on those TV shows where, like, you can't believe that this person is selling it for this cheap, whatever, right? And I might have mentioned this story in part, but I don't know what this guy has got going on, but he said, "All right, cool. Can we meet tomorrow?" I said, "You got it. Come tomorrow." I say, "Hey, I'm ready to meet up. Where do you want to meet?" Ghosted. Disappeared. Didn't talk to me. And then the next day, he hits me up. Says, "Oh, man, sorry. Super busy. Didn't see it coming. Hey, can we meet today?" "No, can we meet tomorrow?" I said, "Let's go." I understand. A lot going on. Message him the next day. Ghosted. Okay. I said, "I'm done with you, man. I'm out." So, but a couple days later, he hits me up again. "Oh my God, can't explain. So super sorry. Would you like to meet tomorrow? Please," right? And by this point, I'm like, "Are you kidding me, man? Like, what kind of hee-haw? Like, how do I look like that's..." But I said, "Listen, at this point, if you want to meet, you reach out to me, right?" And I thought, "Oh, I'm never going to hear from this fool again," right? Well, guess who hits me up a couple days, like maybe 4 days, 5 days later? You know what I mean? Sends an address, says, "Can you meet here?" And I'm like, no. I said, "I got things to do tomorrow," whatever, the day that he said. So I'm done. Like, and I said, "Listen, I'm done. If you hit me up on Friday when I'm available and say, let's meet now, we'll see what's up." And then he didn't. But isn't that crazy? Like, just strung along, like, And it was such a good deal that I put up with it the first couple times because I understood that, you know, you're moving, these things are happening, and selling off these 2 items might not be a priority or high up on the list. I get it. But why keep, you know, anyway, but I dealt with a lot of different people in it recently selling these items, and when people were true to their word, like it hit a little different. Like this one guy, I told him, I said, I got a small window. I will meet you on my lunch break. It's at 11:15. I sent a message at 11:15. Sent it, and I 11:27. I said, man, I'm heading, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go next door to the gas station, and then I'm moving on to the next person on the list. And then and he was ghosting, right? But no communication, no like, hey, stuck in traffic, sorry, my bad. You know, this was the same early bird hot shot that saw him. I posted it like at 11 o'clock at night. He messaged me at 4:30 in the morning, said, I want what you got. 6:30 in the morning, when I sent a message back to him, sure, I can't meet later. Can you meet at my lunch? 2 seconds later, I'm there. Like this guy was like, he was like, I kept saying to myself, this dude is like the epitome of like the early bird, because he's checking it 4:30 in the morning, checking the latest post, and he's on it. And when you respond, he's right back. But there I am at lunch, and he's not even saying so much as hey man, I'm sorry, I just got this message, I read the time wrong. Nothing. And I was alerting him from 11:08 to 11:30, whatever. So I go back to work, and he hits me up. Oh man, I thought you said 11:45. I'm here, you know. Is there any way you can? And I'm already kind of fuming, but trying to be cool about it. But I ended up taking a break and clocking out again, and running over to take care of it, because I was going to be done and just be done, super done, and which I was. But you know, that was another instance where the guy was like, what's the least amount that you could possibly take? And I was like, really? Like, how about let's just meet in the middle? And you know, one of those situations where if you're in sales, shoot above the amount that you really want, and make that what you really want be the lowest that you're willing to go. But ask for more than that. Be reasonable, right? So I'll give you an example. Like the way I played it, and I'm sure this is common sense to everybody who has ever heard this, but to some people, whatever. But like, say, if you want to walk away with $100, right, for a given item, like my math goes, if I could buy this item retail for $300, then I'm going to first cut it in half and say, I want to try to get half of what the value is. And then I'm going to say, realistically, I want to walk away with $150 for this item. And then, so I'll post it for $200, right? Because that's not, I mean, it's worth $300 retail, but you know, whatever. And then, because every time, no matter what, they'll say, you know, would you consider a trade for like some broken junk or whatever? No. Would you take $100? No. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think you have to have, you should set it for a head at $200, and that way the person has some wiggle room and says, look, I'll give you $150 for it. And then you can be like, okay, cool, I'll take that. You know, and just have that little cushion of, well, if he says $140, is that gonna trick your game up? And you're gonna be like, sure, you know what I mean? In my mind, that way, that person walks away saying, you know what? all right, I was able to wheel and deal and cut it down a little bit below asking. And on the other end, you're like, all right, I got what I wanted without too much compromise. Yeah, but I think I'm done with that for a while. I'm, I've realized that I function better with less clutter. I'm a minimalist at heart. If I could just have the bare necessities of what I need to do different things in an organized and nice way, it just, I mean, I'm telling you, I have right now, my workspace is just because I've been purging like these different closets, right? Which I'll tell you one part. My I talked about my son having, visitation, and you have some items, right? Well, I had this closet that I just had everything accumulated and organized, and it's kind of, but at the point it's filled to the brim, and kind of you sort of shove the door open and put a heating blanket in there, or whatever odds and ends that you need to get rid of, out of sight, out of mind. And so I committed to opening that up and taking everything out with the intention of, because that closet is in my work room. So the intention was to purge all of his stuff, and offer him the opportunity to go through it and have some items that he would like. Talk about maybe a storage situation otherwise, but it was difficult. In a certain respect, it was not, because he accumulated a lot of things that he never even saw or came in contact with, because we got to the point where we knew we only had less than 10 hours on our time together. So I would go pick him up, and we'd never even come here. We would go to the movies. We go to different theme, playground areas or whatever. We have things to do all the time. I mean, but sometimes he would get Christmas gifts, birthday gifts from other people, and they would just sit in this area. So some of it, stuff that were like not like there were color books in there for like weird, not weird, but stuff that he never was interested in. So I knew it wasn't his. Like there was a giant Thor doll, which I asked my wife if I could have and I didn't get to keep it. I'm just kidding. I didn't want it, but it's an inside joke about a Chris Hemsworth dream I had about him bringing me lunch without a shirt on. Y'all don't want to hear that story, but anyway, yeah. So I got all of his boxes out, all the stuff out, and we bought these giant boxes from the hardware store, and I just started going through the stuff and getting rid of. The first step was getting rid of everything that I knew that he never was messing with or knew about or whatever, to give away to Goodwill. And some of the stuff that had no sentimental value, just kind of, like I bought him this giant, or no, I think he kept that. No, I bought him this giant Hot Wheels contraption that was supposed to be this racetrack that looked like a roller coaster. But the damn thing never put together right, never worked right. It just looked like a bunch of plastic that was thrown together, like just garbage. And maybe that had more to do with my assembly prowess, but For whatever reason, I could never get this damn thing to look like a roller coaster racetrack. It just looked like plastic sticks with like, high hopes. So I just took all of that and gave it to Goodwill because maybe somebody has a bit of a savvy for that and knows how to put that together. But now he's really into remote controls and that's model cars, like these little die-cast different classic cars and stuff. He's got tons of it. But I had a hard time taking it to Goodwill. All these are these boxes. I think it was because it was symbolic of like, I guess it was nostalgic in a sense, but like I said, it's more the possibility of or the time that we never got to just kick it and play with the items. Like the idea that there was all these stuff that he never got a chance to like mess with or enjoy and wouldn't. It was like we were at this one garage sale and this lady was selling all this American Girl doll stuff for really cheap. And she says, yeah, man, my daughter's 13 and just doesn't have any interest in it. And it was one of those statements that was kind of a blow-off statement. She was just justifying why she was selling all this stuff cheap. But in my mind, I look at my daughter and then I go, damn, the clock's on, man. We gotta just, I'm listening to her in the background being all of 8 years old and, and I just don't want, it's like that parallel between her childhood and my son kind of growing up really, really quick. And on one hand, he's talking to me about going to another city to meet up with his friends from college and me thinking how that, looks and how that's going to go. And then on the opposite end, my daughter, still being of the age where she wants to play and have a good time. And, although I do play Fortnite with my son, so let's not get crazy with the, as an adult, we put away childish things speech. We're not going that far yet. But because I do think that generationally we are a different, we have different ground rules for still, playing. I still want her to enjoy imagination and art and playing around and being goofy all the way until we're both, well, she's old and whatever. But I just definitely did take a left turn there, and I don't know how I ended up there. Anyway, but purging the closet. So we were getting rid of all this stuff, and I've got all of his stuff out and in trunks and boxes in this one big stack, but it's right in my work area. And I bought a big bin with shelves because I was having like art pads and like canvases and paints and brushes, and they're just everywhere, all over the house. And I wanted an organized situation where, like, if you wanted to do any kind of medium, you could just go there and find it, and whenever that persuasion hits you and you want to do something that you're not like, where do we put those, because I've been wanting to sit down and it's funny because the actual cleaning of the rooms and moving stuff around and getting organized and the time it takes to do that, I've been itching to do a creative project for a while now, man. It's bugging me. I've been feeling like pent up, like I'm not just not being able to effectively express myself, But yeah, there's this double closet that I say double closet. we have this big closet in the master bedroom, right? We're gonna get a little. So there's this big. It's a flat closet, right? Not the ones. It's not a walk-in, but against the wall kind of closet. Okay. And we've lived in this house for, I guess, over 10 years. But anyway, split down the middle. You know, where this door slides this way, that was my wife's section. And where the door splits this way, that's my section. And, you know, other things, you know, that towels, whatever. Anyway. Well, when the idea of purging and like getting rid of stuff and cleaning out closets came up, I mean, you could see the idea bubble go over the light bulb happen with my wife. She just, once you give that, you know, put that bone out there, it was over. Like, just, her eyes got glassy and she could see her closet expanding, like. And once she got that notion, I knew it was over. Like, I mean, talk about a fire getting lit under you. Just offer additional closet space and it's over. She was like, all right, so you're getting rid of your junk today. When can I expect you to get the stuff out of the closet? Can you get it done right now? And, you know, the baby's asleep. I don't know, be quiet about it. Okay. I'm not, you know, well, I'm going to need a time frame. What can you get it done tomorrow? Can you make it a point to do it for, okay, you know what? And if it flash forward, the closet's completely emptied and now filled with my clothes and really neat and orderly and all set up, right? The initial ambition was to have like work-related items in there. No, that idea was jumped and beat up and left on the side of the road. And she has that side of the whole closet's packed now with her stuff. I don't know where she got the stuff to pack the other side of the closet. I don't even know. But, you know, she owns that closet now. Double closet, you know, the whole bit. And the closet I'm using is like a third of the size. Not even half, a third of the size of that closet. But it was good, you know, get like a giant pile of Goodwill stuff I got rid of. I had been hanging on to, you know, where you hang on to those shirts and you're like, you know, in your mind, you're like, when I lose a little bit of weight, I'm going to look good in that shirt, right? And then you say that enough times, you want to check the size on it. And then you have to be honest with yourself. Even if I lost all the weight, you're not fitting into that shirt again. Not like that. Not where, you know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, I am not a medium, and nor will I ever be a medium. Not on my best day. Not even cut up like a comic book character. It wouldn't happen. It's just, you know. So my dad used to say, like, you know, that he would like be like, you fill it out. You're a bigger dude. You know, you're not gonna. But anyway, I hung on to a lot of those. I had this one military jacket that was like, I don't know if it was from like it was made for somebody who was in like the Arctic, and it was so dope. And it had this faux fur like around the top where you had it on the head, and like it was multi-layered. But it was like a medium. No way I was gonna fit in that jacket. But it was given to me because this old man was donating the jacket to a coat drive, and I saw he brought it in, and I was admiring it. And I said, "Dude, that is so cool," you know. And I was going off about it, and he's like, "You know what? I have these other coats we can donate, but I really want you to have this particular one." And I was like, "You gotta be kidding me, man!" And I was like, "Thank you so much." And then I don't even think I really paid attention to the size at that point. I just said, you know, I could probably, you know, I'm gonna lose some weight, so man, I'll fit in this jacket. Thank you. I hung that bad boy in my closet for like ages. And then I checked the tag on it, and I said to myself, no. And I tried to pimp it off. Julie wouldn't even try it on. And I was like, you know what? Somebody's gonna find this jacket, and it's gonna get to the right home. I just know it. But so dope. But a bunch of the stuff, like this fish one right here behind me. If you're watching on the YouTube one, I have what looks like a painting or like a picture of a fish. This was actually a shirt that just got ripped to bits on the sides, and I lived hard wearing that shirt. So, but I love the design on it so much that I strapped it to a canvas and stapled it and fastened it to the back. And I had intended on doing the same there's a few other shirts that I've wanted to do that too. I had some that were destroyed and taken away, band shirts and stuff. But I do have a couple of band shirts left that I'm going to convert into canvases like that at one point or another. We've always had really cool band shirts. I think, if you're ever in a band or group playing, I'm sure you say the same thing, that those are the coolest shirts that you could have, or the ones that you made. But anyway, I commandeered the washing machine. They don't know that. I don't know if you ever heard that. She's going to check the washing machine. She's going to find out real quick. Anyway, sorry, that was just checking that on behind the scenes. So, one other one. I remember telling a story where when I was a little kid, I had a situation that happened where I was at a social event, and I walked into everybody having lunch, and somebody says, "Hey, would you like a fry?" And I said, "Sure." And I was a little boy, and I take the fry, and it was really good. I'm a little boy. I'm really hungry. And then I said something about it and about having another fry. And then somebody says, "No, this lunch is for us. It's for them. It's not for you." And I said, okay. Little butthurt about this. Not too excited. But it hit such an impression on me that I said to myself, I will never be in a situation. I never want to feel like that ever again. If I want something, I'm going to, I'll do whatever it takes to get what I want. And, hell or high water. And that's a dangerous position to be in, because that's how I'm sure a lot of really awful people are created, having those feelings of being made to feel that way, like you're an outsider, or that you're not included, or that you don't, or that some can have but you cannot. And there was a couple instances while I was around that age where the adults around me felt that was the way to approach me. Probably made themselves feel better about themselves, probably made themselves feel like they had ownership over whatever they were fronting, and this is for them, it's not for you. And okay, it's an important lesson, I guess, to learn, is that, but it was always, internally it felt like, that's not the way to be about, like, the way to share things. It's not, you shouldn't make it's not the child's fault, whatever, that they're not part of this. You should still make them feel at least that they are welcome to have some. I mean, who would not want to share with a kid, right? I mean, I know you're not going to just take it all away, but to be, ostracized like that is just, it's not right. But whatever. It did plan a fire in me to never want that when it ever happened to me again. So flash forward, and I'm at. We're going to change the dynamics of the story because I don't want to reveal or say where I was at in this instance, but we'll talk about it in terms of it being in a work environment. Anyway, this one person comes over to me and starts talking to me about whether or not I would like to partake in some free pastries. And I said, no, you know what? I'm good, man. I'm not hungry at all. Like, I'm good. And then and then meanwhile, this person is asking somebody off camera, hey, is it cool to offer it around? I'm just, is it just for, what's this, these things? Okay, cool. And then proceeds to offer them. So they kind of did ask in front of me to this other person whether or not they could share those said items with me. But, so that might have put pressure on them to say yes at that point. I didn't pay attention. I was like, I'm good. I already ate, which is true. I really didn't want them. I mean, I just talked about on my last show about checking in with yourself and realizing that you gained hella weight while you were not paying attention. So I was like, you know what? No, I don't want anything. Thank you. But she's like, you can hear how loud she is. She's got my voice, right? That little girl. If you're just listening on the podcast, that voice in the background is my daughter, just walking down the hall, probably FaceTime with one of her friends, like being super loud. By the way, there's a figure that I'm going to call. I'm sorry, taking the time out from the story, but go find it. It's all these YouTube little characters that have like their toys and their little channels, whatever. There's one called Aphmau, Aphmau, I think. If I find one, I'll put a picture of it. The other day we were going through the store, and they have Aphmau gummies, and they're just legitimately squares, gummy squares. No shape or nothing to them. They're not shaped like Aphmau. They look like, but to their credit, they did include these trading cards with them, whatever. But my daughter has this on YouTube. She has the thing where she hits the little microphone. Everybody has it, but she uses it because she doesn't like to type in there. But this started like a couple more, like maybe a while back, where in the morning I would hear her yelling into this iPad, and I swear she was saying ass mouth, ass mouth, ass mouth. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And it's called Aphmau. I'll show a picture of this character, whatever. It's basically like it has to do with a cat. I don't care. But she was yelling at she every morning, every now and then you'll hear her yelling Aphmau into her thing. But I digress. 5 minutes, I'll be done. I'm not saying ass mouth. I'm saying Aphmau. See, I get in trouble. Nobody else gets in trouble. I get in trouble. It's not fair. Dang it. Anyway, so the person's like, seriously, you want some free pastries? Like, come on, you want them. And I was like, all right, fine. I'll take a free pastry. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. So this person leaves and comes back a little bit later and says, I'm sorry, there was no more. Now that should have been where the story ended. Because I was like, okay, I really shouldn't have had one anyway. Thank you for offering. Peace out. But then this person walks away and sends me a text message and says, this other person, the person that I asked about the pastries, said they were they were for them, but not for you. That there are still some there, but they're for us, not for you. And oh man, I was furious, but not. I wasn't furious. I was just furious that that statement could be made to me again. You know what I mean? Because I've heard it other times. Like, there's perks that go to certain departments that don't go to other departments, and that's the way it goes. It's there's no harm, no foul. It's, you know what I mean? Like, how do you say, when you're part of a rewards program? That's what I'm talking about. And certain rewards go to the certain levels, and certain rewards don't. It's fine. It's an understood thing. That's different. What I'm saying is when they're sharing something around, and you feel the obligation or the need to say, "Oh no, this is for him and her," you're not allowed to have any. You know, it's an awful feeling. And one of which I never want to be put in that position. It's just not a good feeling. But I think it also is dangerous because it becomes. Sometimes I was telling my mom this one time. I said, it makes you somewhat gluttonous, right? Because I'm walking in the store and I see items on the shelf, and then I say, if I hear the wrong voice, if I hear the voice of, oh, that's, you know, that's not for you. The hell it is, and you know, there I am getting it, like I shouldn't be getting it, and I know I shouldn't, but you know, it's almost to prove to myself that I can get it. Oh, seconds. Why not? You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's not for you. Anyway, that's my complaining for the day. Okay. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out. I want y'all to message me if you can at lostlikemike@gmail.com. Let me know what topics you'd like to hear about, guests that you'd like me to have. I have a few ideas about that. I'm looking at starting another show. This one's going to be a Facebook Live show or something equivalent, where I'll post the shows on other platforms, but I will primarily be having a Facebook Live show. I want to invite musicians, friends, and colleagues that I've worked with over the years to just jam and hang out and release songs by the end of the show, and use it as a platform to, you know, have maybe a bar, like some type of QR code or something, where they could all proceeds that come in through that, people donating, that we could use those funds for struggling musicians, or for like we've had a recent loss in our community of somebody that passed away unexpectedly, and I had not figured out a way to financially contribute to that cause. And we were talking about getting together and jamming in light of that. And one of the musicians said we really should, because like in this instance, we'll never get to jam with this person again. And so parallel to that, it sort of makes sense that we would use this opportunity to raise money, you know, in that instance, on that night, to contribute to funeral expenses and to his family. But also be another opportunity just to hang out and chill with friends and play music. So I'll probably start linking that to this, and tell you more about that as that project develops. But thank y'all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. Also, on the audio version of last week, didn't actually get posted until Friday of this, you know, just like 2 days ago. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to episode 60, it's up now. There was an error with the audio, and so please go back and check that one. It was a pretty decent episode about strength and control, being the true definition of being meek, and it's worth a listen. All right, take care, guys, and I will see y'all